of the Tempest. This is the second young actor performance to be performed up at the Collinses. My sister Mary started it all with her play, The Taming of the Shrew, and ever since I was in it, I just loved acting. I wanted to act as much as I could, but I also really wanted to come back and do another young play. So I would go through different plays, Shakespeare plays, thinking who would I cast as who, what play should I do, and I thought so long that eventually I got too old to act in a play like that, so I figured, oh, I can direct one. So, but I still didn't talk about it that much. I just thought about it a lot, and one day I was getting a ride with Coglins for Park Day, and I just sort of said, for some reason, I really want to direct another young play. And Jerry was up in the front seat and turns around and says, "Whoa, really? I've been thinking about that for a long time too." And I'm like, well, that's awesome. So after that, we started planning like nuts, and we got together, figured out the play, figured out the casting. And what was really cool, as we figured out the casting, was that all the people who were in our Taming of the Shrew were now major roles in this play, and we were directing them, which was really cool. And so we started the practices, and we had a lot of fun just directing such good actors, and it was wonderful working with them. And now Jury will set the stage, as it were, for our production of The Tempest.
Okay. I'm just going to give a really brief synopsis. So, Prospero, the Duke of Milan, was a wise and just duke, but he was really interested in magic. So he decided to give he charged his brother Antonio with his dukedom. And unfortunately, Antonio was ambitious and evil. So he got the help of Alonso, the King of Naples, to overthrow his brother Prospero. So in the middle of the night, they put Prospero and Miranda on a boat in the Mediterranean Sea and just set them out to float. Luckily, they landed on a small island with only a few spirits and Caliban, sort of like a man and sort of like an ape, the son of a witch who had previously lived there. Eventually, the King of Naples went to Tunis to wed his daughter to the King of Tunis, and on the way back, they sailed nearby the island that Prospero was on. And Prospero realized his chance and caused a tempest to shipwreck the king and his entire company. And he had his spirits separate them, and made every single group think that everyone else was drowned. And his first group was the king and his lords, and they were wandering around the island, hopefully searching for the king's son, Ferdinand, who meanwhile had actually found Prospero and had fallen in love with Prospero's daughter, Miranda. And then the comedy relief is there's another set, Stefano and Trinculo. They stumble upon Caliban, and the three of them together plot to kill Prospero. And Caliban worships Stefano as a god, and basically he hates Prospero. So, without further ado, I give you The Tempest.
Here, Master, watch here. Feet in the man is full to the Uranus, falls off the ground, be still.
Hi, my hearts, cheerily cheer on my hearts. Yar, yar, taking the top sail. Tend to the master's thistle. Blow from thou burst thy wind if room enough.
Good bosun, have care. Where's the master? Play the men.
I pray now, keep below.
Where's the master, bosun?
Do you not hear him? You mar our labor. Keep the cabin. Reduce us the storm.
Nay, good, be patient.
When the sea is hence, what cares for these roars in the name of the king? Cabin, silence, trouble us not.
Good, yet remember whom thou hast aboard.
None that I love more than myself. If you can command these omens to silence and work to keep them present, I'll not hand a rope more. Use your authority. If you cannot, give thanks to have lived so long, and make yourself ready in your cabin for the mischances I'll so have. Cheerly, good hearts. Out of our way, I say.
I have great comfort from this fellow. Methinks he hath no jarring mark upon him. His complexion is perfect scholars.
Down with the topmast! Lower, lower! Yeah, again? What do you hear? Shall we give her drown? Have you a mind to sink?
A pox on your throat, you bawling, blasphemous, incharitable dog!
Weren't you then?
Hang her, hang, you whoresome, insolent noisemaker. We are less afraid to be drowned than thou art.
Lay her a hold! Turn 2 courses off to sea again! Lay her off!
All along! Paris, Paris, all along! The king and prince are Paris. Let's assist them, for our case is theirs.
I am out of patience. We are merely cheated of our lives by drunkards. This wide-chopped rascal. Would thou mightest like drowning? Launch him 10 times!
He'll be hanged yet. Who every double word swear against this. And Gable was to glutton. Mercy on us, we split. Farewell, my wife and children. Farewell, brother, we split.
Let's all sink with the king!
Now we're to give 1,000 furlongs of sea from acre barren ground, long heath, ground, anything. The will of thought we'd done, rain, die, dry death.
If by your art, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in this roar, allay them. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. A brave vessel, who had no doubt some noble creature in them, dashed all to pieces. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or ere it should the good ship so have swallowed, and all the rotting souls within her.
Be collected. Tell thy piteous heart there is no harm done.
Oh, woe the day!
No harm. I have done nothing but in care of thee, who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I am, nor that I am more greater than Prospero, master of the full course cell, as I know greater father.
More to know did never meddle with my thoughts.
'Tis time I should inform thee farther. Lend thy hand and pluck my magic garment from me. So, lie there, my art. Wipe thou thine eyes. Have comfort. The doubtful spectacle of the rack, which touched the very virtue of compassion. I have with such provision in mine art, so safely ordered that there is no soul, no, not so much perdition as a hair, retain to any creature in the vessel which thou heardest cry, thou sawest sink. Sit down, thou must now no farther.
You have often begun to tell me what I am, but stopped and led me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay, not yet.
The hour is now come. Obey and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came unto this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou wast not yet 3 years old.
Certainly, sir, I can.
Tell me, what hath kept thy remembrance?
'Tis far off, and rather like a dream than an assurance. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me?
Thou hadst, and more. But how is it that this lives in your mind? Whence seest thou else in the backward and abysm of time? If thou rememberest aught ere how thou camest here, how thou camest here thou mayest.
But that I do not.
'Tis 12 years since, Miranda, 12 years since. Thy father was Duke of Milan and the Prince of Power.
Sir, are you not my father?
Thy mother was a work of virtue, and she said thou wast my daughter. Only heir and princess, no worse issued.
Oh, the heavens, what foul play had we? Or blessed was we did.
Both, my girl. By foul play, as thou sayest, were we heaved thence, but blessed we hope thither.
Oh, my heart bleeds to think of the teen that I have turned you to, which is from my remembrance. Please you further.
My brother and thy uncle, called Antonio, I pray thee mark me, that a brother should be so perfidious. The government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies. Thy false uncle, dost thou attend to?
Sir, most heedfully.
And my false brother awakened an evil nature, and to my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in its contrary. As great as my trust was, it had indeed no limit, a confidence sans bound. He did believe he was indeed the Duke, out of the substitution, executing the outward face of royalty with all prerogative. Hence his growing ambition. Dost thou hear?
Your tale, sir, would cure deafness.
My library is him enough. He thinks me now incapable, confederates. So dry was he for sway, with the King of Naples. This King of Naples, being an enemy to me inveterate, hearkened to my brother's suit, which was that he, in lieu of the premises of homage, and I know not how much tribute, should presently extirpate me into mine hour of dukedom, and confer fair Milan with all the honors upon my brother, whereon a treacherous army levied, one midnight, fated to the purpose, did Antonio open the gates of Milan, and ere the dead of darkness, thy ministers for the purpose, hurried thence me with thy crying self.
Alack, what trouble was I then to you?
Oh, a cherubim I walked with the surface. Smile, effused with fortitude from heaven. When I decked the sea with drops full salt, under my burthen groaned, which raised in me an undergoing stomach to bear up against what should ensue.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine, some food we had and some fresh water, that noble Neapolitan Gonzalo out of his charity did give us. His rich garments, linens, stuffs, and necessaries, which since have steaded much. Knowing I loved my books, he furnished me from mine own library, volumes that I prize above my dukedom.
Would I might ever see that man?
Now I arise. Sit still, and meet the last of our sea sorrow. Here in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee more profits than other princesses can, but have more time for vainer hours, and tutors not so careful.
Heavens, thank you for it. And now, I pray you, sir, for still 'tis beating in my mind, your reason for raising the sea storm?
Know this far forth. By accident most strange, bountiful fortune, now my dear lady, hath mine enemies brought to this shore. And by my presence I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence, if not I court now, but omit, my fortunes will ever after droop. Here cease more questions, thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness and give it away. I know thou canst not choose. Come away, servant, come. I am ready now. Approach, my Ariel, come.
All hail, great master! Grave sir, hail! I come to answer thy best pleasure. Be to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride on the curled clouds. To thy strong bidding, task Ariel in all his quality.
Hast thou spirit performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article, I boarded the king's ship, now in the beak, now in the waist, in the decks, in every cabin I flamed amazement. Sometimes I divide and burn in many places. On the topmast, the yards and bowsprit I'd flame distinctly, then meet and join. Jove's lightning, the precursors of the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary and sight outrunning were not.
My brave spirit, who was so firm, so constant that this coil would not infect his reason?
Not a soul but felt the fever of the mad, and played some tricks of desperation. All but the mariners plunged into the foaming brine and quit the vessel. Then, all fire with me, the king's son Ferdinand, with hair upstaring, then like weeds and not hair, was the first man that leapt and cried, Hell is empty, and all the devils are here!
Was this not nigh the shore?
Close by, my master.
Are they, Ariel? Safe.
Not a hair perished, on their garments not a blemish, but fresher than before. And as thou badst me in troops have I dispersed them about the isle. The king's son have I landed by himself, who I left cooling in the air with sighs, and sitting his arms on the sad knot.
Of the king's ships and mariners, say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet.
Safely in the harbor is the king's ship in deep nook. The mariners all under hatches stowed, who I have left asleep. As for the rest of the fleet which I have dispersed, They are all men again and are on the Mediterranean, float sadly home for Naples, supposing they saw their king's ship wrecked, and his great person perish.
Ariel, thy charge exactly as before. But there's more work. What is the time of day?
Past the mid-season.
At least 2 glasses. Time took 6, and now must buy us both be spent most preciously.
What? Is there more toil? Let me remember thee what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me.
How now, what is it that thou command?
My liberty.
Before the time be out, no more.
I pray thee, remember I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made thee no mistakes, served without grudge or grumblings. Thou promised to bait me a full year.
Dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee?
No.
Thou liest, malignant thing! Hast thou forgot the foul which Sycorax, with age and envy, was grown into a hoop? Hast thou forgot her?
No, sir.
This blue-eyed hide was hither brought with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou wast then her servant, for thou wast a spirit too delicate to act her earthly and abhorred commands. So she did confine thee, by help of her more potent ministers, into a cloven pine, within this rift imprisoned, that has painfully remained a dozen years, within which space she died and left thee there. It was mine art when I arrived and heard thee, made gape the pine and let thee out.
I thank thee, master.
If thou more murmurs, I will rend an oak and peg thee in his knotty entrails till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
Pardon, master. I will be more correspondent to your commands.
Do so, and after 2 days I will discharge thee.
That's my noble master. What shall I do? Say what? What shall I do?
Go make thyself like a nymph of the sea, be subject to no sight but thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Go take this shape and take a minute. Go. Hence with diligence. Awake, dear heart, awake. Thou slept well. Awake.
The strangeness of your story put heaviness in me.
Come, we'll visit Caliban, my slave, who never yields us an answer.
'Tis a villain, sir, I do not love to look on.
But as 'tis we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our wood, and serves in offices that profit us. But ho, slave, Caliban! Thou speak. There's wood enough within. Upon thy wicked dam come forth.
As wicked do as ere my mother swept from Raven's fen drop on both of you.
For this be sure to make thyself a prince, side stitches. Thou shalt be as pinched a stick of honeycomb, each pinch more stinging than the bees that made him.
I must eat my dinner. This island's mine by Sycorax my mother, which thou takest from me. When thou camest here first, thou strokest me and made much of me. Wouldst give me water with berries in it, teach me to name the bigger light. Then I loved thee and showed thee all the qualities of this isle, the fresh springs and the places fertile. Cursed be that I did so, all the charms of Sycorax, toads, beetles, and bats light on you.
Blind slave, whose stripes may move, not kindness. I lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
That you learned me in your language, and my profit on it is. I know how to curse. The red plague rid both of you for learning me in your language.
Hide seed hence. Fetch us some fuel and be quick. Thou neglectest, or else unwillingly what I command. All make thee roar that beasts will tremble at thy din.
No, pray thee, I must obey. His art is of such power.
So, slave, hence.
Come on to these yellow sands, and then take hands. Curtsied when you have, and kiss the wild waves whist. Put it featly here and there, and then sweet sprites the burthen bear. Hark, hark, I hear the strain of strutting chanticleer, cry cock-a-doodle-dow.
Where should this music be? In the air or on the earth? It sounds no more. Sitting on a bank, weeping for the king, my father wrecked. This music crept by me upon the waters, and I followed it. But 'tis gone. No, begins again.
Full fathom 5 thy father lies, of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes. Nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer sea change into something rich and strange. Sea nymphs hourly sing his knell. Hark, I hear them now, ding-dong bell.
Ditty does remember my drowned father. This is no mortal business, nor sound that the earth owes. I hear it now above me.
The fringed curtain of thine eye advance, and say what thou seest yon.
What, it's the spirit? Lord, how it looks about. Believe me, sir, it carries a brave form, but 'tis a spirit.
No wench, it eats and sleeps, and has senses as we have. Such. This gallant which thou seest was in the rack. He has lost his fellows, and strains to bind them.
I might call him a thing divine, for nothing so natural I ever saw so noble.
Goes on, I see, as my soul prompts it. Spirit, fine spirit, I'll free thee within 2 days for this.
Oh, sure. The goddess on whom these airs attend, vouchsafe my prayer, may know if you remain on this island. But my prime request, which I do last pronounce, if you be a maid or no.
No wonder, sir, but certainly a maid.
My language? Heavens! I'm the best that speak this speech. Were I but where 'tis spoken.
How, the best? What were thou if the king of Naples heard thee?
He does hear me, and that he does I weep. Myself of Naples, who with mine eyes never since it ebbed, beheld the king, my father wrecked.
Alack, for mercy!
Yes, faith, and all his lords.
They are both in either's powers. Delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. A word, good sir. I fear you've done yourself some wrong. A word.
There is nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. Why speaks my father so urgently? This is the third man that year I saw. The first year I sighed for pity moved my father to be inclined to my way.
Oh, if a virgin, and your affections not gone forth, I'll make you the queen of Naples.
They are both in either's powers. But this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. One word more. I charge thee that thou attend me. Thou dost here usurp the name thou owest not. Put thyself upon this island as a spy. Win it from me, the lord on it.
No, as I'm a man.
There is nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. If the ill spirit have so fair a house, good things will strive to dwell with it.
Come, follow. Speak not you for him, he's a traitor. Come, all men are pull thy neck and feet together. Sea water shalt thou drink. Thy food shall be the fresh brook mussels, withered roots, and husks wherein the acorn cradles. Follow.
No, I will resist.
Oh, dear father, make not too rash a trial for him.
Put thy sword up, traitor. He maketh a show, but darest not strike.
By conscience.
Conscience is so possessed with guilt. Come from thy ward, for I can here disarm thee with this stick, and make thy weapon drop.
Beseech you, father?
Hence, hang off of my garments.
Sir, have pity, I'll be his surety.
Silence! One word more shall make me chide thee, if not hate thee. Thou thinkest there are no more such shapes as he, having seen but him and Caliban. Foolish wench, to most of men this is a Caliban, and they to him are angels.
My affections are then most humble. I have no ambition to see a goodlier man.
Come on, obey. Thy nerves are in their infancy again, and have no vigor in them.
So they are. My spirits, as in a dream, are all wound up. Might I but through this prison once a day, behold this maid. All corners else of the earth let liberty use of. Space enough have I in such a prison.
It works. Come on, follow. Thou hast done well, fine Ariel.
Be of comfort. My father is of better nature, sir, than he appears by speech. This is unwonted which now came from him.
You shalt be as free as the mountain wind, then exactly do all points of my command.
To the syllable.
Come, follow. Speak not to him.
Beseech you, sir, be merry. Be of cause, so have we all for joy. For our escape is much beyond our loss. I mean our preservation. Few in millions can speak like us. Then wisely, good sir, wear our sorrow with our comfort.
Prithee, peace.
He receives comfort like cold partridge.
Look, he's winding up the watch of his wit. By and by, it will strike.
The air breathes upon us here most sweetly, as if it had lungs, and rotten ones.
Or as for perfumed by a fen.
Here is everything advantageous to life.
True. Save means to live.
Of that there's none, or little.
How lush and lusty the grass looks, how green. And their garments being, as it were, drenched in the sea, hold notwithstanding their freshness and glosses, being rather newly dyed than stained with salt water.
You cram these words into mine ears. Would I had never married my daughter there. My son is lost. I shall never again see my daughter. O thou mine heir of Naples and of Milan, what strange fish hath made his meal on thee?
Sir, he may live. I saw him beat the surges under him and ride upon their backs. His bold head above the contentious waves he kept, and oared himself with his good arms in lusty stroke to the shore. I doubt not he came alive to land.
No, he's gone.
You are kneeled to and importuned otherwise by all of us, and the fair soul herself, weighed between loathness and obedience, at which end of the beam should bow. You have lost your son, I fear, forever. The fault's your own.
So is the loss.
My lord Sebastian, the truth you speak doth lack some gentleness, and time to speak it in. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster. 'Tis foul weather in us all, good sir, when you are cloudy.
Very foul.
If I were king this isle, I would with such perfection govern, sir, to excel the golden age.
Long live Gonzalo.
And do you mark me, sir?
Prithee no more. Thou dost talk nothing to me.
I do well believe, your highness, and did it to minister occasion to these gentlemen, who are such sensible and nibelunks, they are used to laugh at nothing.
'Twas you we laughed at.
Nay, good my lord, be not angry.
No, I warned you. I will not venture my discretion so weakly. Will you laugh me asleep, for I am very heavy.
Go asleep and hear us.
What? All so soon asleep? I wish mine eyes would with themselves shut up my thoughts.
We too, my lord, will guard your person whilst you take your rest, and watch your safety.
Why doth it not our eyelids sink? I find myself not disposed to sleep.
Nor I. They fell together all, as if by thunderstroke. What might, worthy Sebastian? Oh, what might? No more. And yet, methinks I see it in thy face, what thou shouldst be. The occasion speaks thee, and my strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon my head.
What? Art thou waking?
Do you not hear me speak?
I do, and surely it is a very sleepy language, and thou speaks out of thy sleep. What didst thou say?
Noble Sebastian, thou lett'st thy fortune sleep. Die, rather, whence wilt thou art wakened?
Thou dost snore distinctly. There's meaning in thy snores.
Oh, but if you knew.
Prithee, say on.
Thus, sir, although this lord of weak remembrance almost persuaded the king his son's alive, it is as impossible that he's undrowned as he that sleeps here swims.
I have no hope that he's undrowned.
Out of that no hope, what great hope have you? No hope that way is another way so high a hope that even ambition cannot pierce the wings beyond, but doubt discovery there. Will you grant with me that Ferdinand is drowned?
He's gone.
Tell me then, who is the next heir of Naples?
Clarabelle.
She that is queen of Tunis? She that dwells 10 leagues beyond man's life? What's past his prologue? What's to come in yours and my discharge?
What stuff is this? How say you? 'Tis true my brother's daughter is queen of Tunis, as is she heir of Naples. Twixt which regions there are some space.
A space whose every cubit seems to cry, how shall that Clarabelle measure us back to Naples? Keep in Tunis and let Sebastian wake. Say this were death that now hath seized them. Why, they were no worse than now they are. There can be that can rule Naples as well as he that sleeps. Lords that can prate as amply and unnecessarily as this Gonzalo. I myself could make a cough of as we chat. Oh, that you bore the mind that I do. What a sleep were this for your advancement. Do you understand me?
Thinks I do. I remember you did supplant your brother Prospero.
True. And look how well my garments sit upon me. Much feater than before. My brother's servants were then my fellows, but now they are mine then.
But for your conscience.
Aye, sir, where lies that? If 'twere a kite, 'twould put me to slipper. But I feel not this deity in my bosom. 20 consciences that stand twixt me and Milan. Candied be they, and melter they molest. Here lies your brother, no better than the earth he lies upon. He were dead, whom I, with this obedient steel, 3 inches of it, can lay to bed forever. Whilst you, doing thus to this ancient morsel, this Sir Prudence, who should not upbraid our course. For all the rest, they'll take suggestions as a cat laps milk.
Thy case, dear friend, shall be my precedent. As thou got to Milan, I'll come by Naples. Draw thy sword. One stroke shall free thee from this tribute that thou payest, and I, the king, shall love thee.
Draw together. When I rear my hand to you, the like fall on Gonzalo.
Oh, but one word.
My master, through his art, foresees the danger that you, his friend, are in, and sends me forth, for else his project dies to keep them living. While you here do snoring lie, open-eyed conspiracy, his time doth take, if of life you keep a care. Shake off slumber and beware. Awake, awake.
Then let us both be sudden.
Now, good angels, preserve the king!
Why, how now? Ho! Awake! Why, you John? Wherefore this ghastly looking?
Whilst we stood here securing your repose, we heard a hollow bellowing, like that of bulls, or rather lions. Didst not wake you? It shook my ear most terribly.
I heard nothing.
Oh, truly, it was the din to fright a monster's ear, to make an earthquake. Surely it was the roar of the whole herd of lions.
Heard you this, Gonzalo?
Upon mine honor, sir, I heard a humming and a strange one too, which should wake me. I shaked you, sir, and cried. As my eyes opened, I saw the weapons drawn. 'Tis best we stand upon our guard, or quit this place.
Lead off the ground, and let's make further search for my poor son.
Heaven keep them from these beasts, for he is sure on the island.
Lead away.
Prospero, my lord, shall know what I have done, and so, king, go safely on to seek thy son.
All the infections that the sun sucks up from bogs, fens, and flats on Prospero fall, making by inchmeal a disease. The spirits hear me, yet I needs must curse, that they'll nor pinch right me with urchin shows, nor lead me like a firebrand unless he bid them. But for every trifle are they set upon me, sometimes like apes that mow and chatter at me, and after bite me, and like hedgehogs which like tumbling at my barefoot way, mount their pricks at my footfall. Sometimes I am all wound with adders who do with cloven tongues do hiss me into madness. Here comes a spirit of his, and to torment me for bringing wood and slowly. I'll fall flat, perchance he will not mind me.
Here's neither bush nor shrub to bear any sort of weather. In another storm brewing, if it just thunder as it did before, I know not where to hide my head. What have we here? Man or fish? Dead or alive? A fish! He smells like a fish. Very ancient and fish-like smell. A very strange fish. Legs like a man and his fins like arms. I do now let loose my opinion and hold it no longer. This is no fish, but an islander that has lately suffered by a thunderstroke. Alas, the storm has come again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine. There is no other shelters hereabouts. Misery equips a man with strange bedfellows that will here shroud to the dregs of the stormy past.
Down the Lord to sea, here shall I die ashore. Do not torment me! Oh! What's the matter? I have not escaped drowning to be afeard of you, four legs.
The spirit torments me.
Oh! This is some monster isle with four legs who hath gotten a ague. Where the devil should he learn our language? I will give him some relief.
Do not torment me, prithee. Now I would home faster.
He's in his fit now and does not talk after the wisest. If I can recover him and keep him tame, I shall not take too much from him. He shall pay for him that hath him.
I should know that voice. It should be, but he is drowned, and these are devils. Oh, defend me.
Four legs and two voices. A most delicate monster. His forward voice is to speak well of his friend. His backward voice is to utter foul speeches to detract. If all the wine in my bottle will cover him, I will help his ague. Come, amen. I will pour some in thy other mouth.
Stefano.
Doff thy other mouth, call me? Mercy, mercy, this is a devil and no monster. I will leave him, I have no long spoon.
Stefano, if thou beest, Stefano, touch me and speak to me. Friend Trinculo, be not afraid, thy good friend Trinculo.
If thou beest Trinculo, come forth. I'll pull thee by the lesser legs. If any legs be Trinculo's legs, these are they. Thou art very Trinculo indeed. How camest thou hither? How camest thou to be the seeds of this moon cap? Can he vent Trinculo?
I took him to heal by a thunderstroke. But art thou not drowned? I hope now thou art not drowned. Is the storm overblown? I hid me under dead mooncalf's gabardine for fear of the storm. But art thou living, Stephano? Oh, Stephano, 2 Neapolitans escaped.
Prithee, do not turn me about. My stomach is not constant. That's a brave god. I will kneel before him. How didst thou escape? How camest thou hither? I escaped on the butt of sack which the sailors heaved overboard. By this bottle, which I made the bark of tree with mine own hand since I was cast ashore. Upon that bottle I'll swear myself thy subject. For the liquor is not earthly. Here, see then how thou escapest.
So much whore, man, like a duck. I can swim like a duck, I'll be sworn.
Here, kiss the book. Though thou canst swim like a duck, thou art made like a goose.
Stephano, hast thou any more of this?
The whole butt, man. My cell is in the rock by the seaside when mine line is hit. How now, mooncalf? How is thine ague? Hast thou not dropped from heaven? Unto the moon, I do assure thee. I was the man in the moon when time was. I have seen thee in her, and I do adore thee. My mistress showed me thee, and thy dog in thy book.
This is a very sallow monster. I have feared of him. A very weak monster. The man in the moon. Most poor credulous monster. Well-drowned monster in good sooth.
I'll show thee every fertile inch of this island. I'll kiss thy foot. I prithee, be my god.
A most ridiculous and drunken monster.
I'll kiss thy foot. I'll swear myself thy subject. Come on then, down and swear.
I shall laugh myself to death at this puppy-headed monster. A most scurvy monster.
Come kiss.
Awful monster.
I'll show thee every fertile inch of this island. I'll pluck thee berries, I'll fish for thee, and get thee wood enough. A plague upon the tyrant that I serve. I'll bear him no more sticks, but serve thee, thou wondrous man.
This is the most ridiculous monster to make a wonder of a poor drunkard.
Prithee, let me bring thee a crab's grove. Me with my long nails will dig thee pig nuts, show thee jay's nests, and teach thee to snare the nimble marmosets. Wilt thou go with me? Prithee, now lead the way without any more talking. Trinculo, the king and all our company, out being drowned, we will inherit here. Here, bear my bottle. Fellow Trinculo, we will fill him by and by again. Farewell, master, farewell, farewell.
A howling monster, a drunken monster.
No more dams I'll make for fish, or fetching, firing at requiring, a scraping, trenching, or wash dish. Van, Caliban, needs a new master, get a new man. Freedom, high day, freedom! Oh, brave monster, lead the way!
This task would be to be odious, but the mistress which I serve quickens what's dead, and makes my labors pleasures. Oh, she is 10 times more gentle than her father's crabbed, and he's composed of harshness. I must remove some thousands of these logs and pile them up in a sore injunction. My sweet mistress weeps when she sees me work.
Alas, I pray you not work so hard.
You enjoy the pile.
Pray, set it down and rest you. When this burns, 'twill weep for having wearied you. My father is hard at study. Pray now, rest yourself.
Dear mistress, the sun will set before I must discharge what I will strive to do.
If you'll sit down, I'll bear your logs a while. Pray, give me that. I'll carry it to the pile.
No, dearest, no, precious creature. I would rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you should such dishonor undergo. While I sit lazy on my back.
It would become me as well as it does you, and I should do it with much more ease, for my good will is to it, and yours against.
Poor worm, thou art infected. This visitation shows it.
You look wearily.
No, noble mistress, 'tis fresh morning when you are by at night. I do beseech you, chiefly that I may sit in my prayers. What is your name?
Miranda. Oh, my father, if broke your has to say so.
Admired Miranda, full many a lady have I eyed with best regard. And many a time hath the harmony of their tongues brought my diligent ear. For several virtues have I liked several women. Never nay with so full soul, but with some defect I heard it quarrel with the noblest ratio, and put it to the foil. But you, oh so perfect and so peerless, are created of every creature's best.
I do not know one of my sex. No woman's face remember, save to my glass mine own. More have I seen more than I may call man, than you, good friend, and my dear father. But I would not wish any companion in the world but you. But I prattle on widely, and my father's precepts I there and do forget.
I'm a prince, Miranda. I do think a king. I would not so hear my soul speak. The very instant that I saw you, did my heart fly to your service.
Do you love me?
Oh heaven, oh earth, bear witness to the sound. I, beyond all limit of what else in the world, do love, prize, honor you.
I am a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Wherefore you weep?
At mine unworthiness, but his is trifling, hence bashful cunning. I am your wife, if you will marry me. If not, I'll die your servant, whether you will or no.
My mistress, dearest?
My husband, then?
I, with a heart ere willing, here's my hand.
And mine, with my heart in it.
So glad of this day I cannot be. With my rejoicing at nothing can be more. All to my book, for yet our supper time I must perform much business appertaining.
Tell not me. When the butt is out, we will drink water, not a drop before. Therefore, bear up in boredom. Drink to me, servant monster.
Servant monster, the folly of this island. They say there are about 5 upon it. We are 3 of them. If the 2 others are brain like us, the state totters.
Monster, thine eyes are always set in thy head.
Where should they be set else? If he would be a very brave monster indeed if they were set in his tail.
My big monster hath drowned his tongue in sack. For my part, the sea cannot drown me. I swim ere I could recover the shore. 35 leagues, off and on. By this late thou shalt be my lieutenant, monster, or my standard. Mooncalf, speak once in thy life, but thou beest a good mooncalf.
How does thine honor let me lift thy shoe? I'll not serve him. He's not valiant. Thou liest, the most ignorant monster. I'm in case to jostle a constable. Why, thou debauched fish, thou was ever a man a coward that has drunk so much as I today? Wilt thou tell a monstrous lie, being but half a fish and half a monster?
Whoa, how he mocks me! Wilt thou let him, my lord?
Lord, quoth he, that a monster should be such a natural?
Low again, bite him to death, I bid you. Tranquilo, keep a good tongue in your head. If you prove a mutineer, the next tree. The poor monster my subject, and he shall not suffer indignity.
I thank my noble lord. Wilt thou be pleased to hearken once again to the suit I made to thee?
Marry, will I kneel and repeat it. I will stand and so shall Tranquilo.
As I told thee before, I am subject to a tyrant, a sorcerer. By his cunning he hath cheated this isle from me.
Thou liest!
Thou liest, thou jesting monkey, thou! I would my very master would destroy thee. I do not lie.
Tranquilo, interrupt the monster one word further. By this hand I will supplant some of your teeth.
I said nothing.
Mum then, and no more. Proceed.
I say by sorcery he got this isle. From me he got it. If thy greatness will avenge it on him, for I know thou darest. But this thing dare not.
That's most certain.
Thou shalt be lord of it, and I'll serve thee.
How now shall this be compassed? Canst thou bring me to the party?
Yea, my lord.
I will yield him to his sleep, where thou mayest knock a nail into his head.
Thou liest, thou canst not.
Thou, what a pagnany this! Thou scurvy patch, I do beseech thy greatness, give him blows and take his bottle from him. When that's gone, he'll not drink with brine, for I'll not show him where the crick freshes are.
Trinculo, interrupt the monster one word further. By this hand, I'll turn my mercy to doors and make a stock fish of thee.
Why? What did I? I did nothing. I'll go farther off.
Now forward with your tail. Prithee, stand farther.
Beat him enough. After a while, I'll beat him too.
Stand farther. Proceed.
Within this half hour will he be asleep, where thou mayest brain him. Most deeply to consider is the beauty of his daughter. He calls her non-parallel. I never saw a woman, but only Sycorax my dam. And she has far surpassed Sycorax, as greatest does least.
Is it so brave, alas?
Aye, my lord, and she'll be thy wife, I warrant.
Monster, I'll kill this man. His daughter and I shall be king and queen. Say our graces. Trinculo and thyself shall be viceroys. Dost thou like the plot? Tranquilo. Give me thy hand. I'm sorry I beat thee, but while thou livest, keep a good tongue in thy head.
Within this half hour will he be asleep, where thou mayest destroy him.
Aye, on mine honor.
Thou makest me merry. Let us be jocund. Wilt thou throw the catch you taught me while ere?
I will, at thy request, monster, I will do reason, any reason. Come on, Trinculo, let's sing. Float 'em and scout 'em and float 'em, that is free.
That's not the tune.
What's the same?
This is the tune of our kids, played by the picture of nobody.
If thou beest a man, show thyself in thy likeness. If thou beest a devil, take it as thou list.
Oh, forgive my sins.
He that dies pays all debts. I defy thee. Mercy upon us!
Art thou afeard?
No, monster, not I.
Be not afeard. This isle's full of noises that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes voices will make me sleep. Then, in my dreaming, methought the clouds would open and show riches ready to drop on me.
This will prove a brave kingdom to me, where I shall have music for nothing.
My crossbow is destroyed.
That will be by and by. I remember the story.
The sound is going off. Let's follow and have to do our work.
Lead monster will follow. I could see this taper. He lays it on.
I'll follow, Stefano.
Fire Lincoln, sir, I can go no further. My old bones ache. Here's a maze shone deep through forthrights and meanders. By your patience, sir, I needs must rest thee.
Old Lord, I cannot blame thee, who am myself attached with weariness and dulling my spirits. Sit down and rest. Here I will put off my hope and keep it no longer. He is drowned whom thus we straight to find.
I am right glad he's sort of hope. Do not, for one repulse, forego the purpose and resolve to peck.
The next advantage we shall take thoroughly.
Let it be tonight, for now they are pressed for travel. They will not, nor cannot use such vigilance when they are fresh.
I say tonight, no more.
What harmony is this, my good friends, hark.
Marvelous, sweet music.
Give us kind keepers, heavens, what were these?
Living drollery. Hell, I believe that there are unicorns. that in Arabia there is one tree, the phoenix's throne, one phoenix at this hour reigning there.
I'll believe both, and what else want credit? Come to me, and I'll be sworn 'tis true. Travelers ne'er did lie, the fools at home condemn them.
If in Naples I should report this now, would they believe me if I should say that I saw such islanders? For certes, these are the people of the island, whose manners are more gentle, kind, than any of our human generation you should find many. Nay, almost any.
Honest Gordon has said well. For some of you their presents are worse than devils.
They behave strangely.
No matter, for they have left their beans behind. But we have stomachs. Wilt please thou taste of what is here?
Not I.
Good sir, you need not fear.
I will stand to and feed, although my last. Brother, my Lord Duke, stand to and do as we.
You are free men of sin, whom destiny that has to instrument the lower worlds of all the sins. The sea has caused to belch you up, and upon this island where no man doth inhabit, you amongst men being most unfit to live. I've made you mad, and even with such like valor men hang and drown their proper selves. Fools, the elements of whom your swords are tempered may as well wound the loud winds as diminish one dowel that's in my plume. My fellow ministers are like invulnerable. Your swords are now to massy further strengths and will not be uplifted. Remember that your three from Milan did supplant good Prospero, exposed into the sea which hath requited him and his innocent child, for which foul deeds the powers have incensed the seas and shores, yea, all the creatures against your peace. Thee of thy son, Alonso, they have bereft, you and your ways, whose wrath to guard you from, which here in this most desolate isle, else befalls upon you, is naught but heart sorrow and a clear life ensuing.
Bravely the figure of this harpiest thou performs, my Ariel. These mine enemies are all knit up in their distractions. They are now in my power, and in these fits I leave them, while I visit young Ferdinand, whom they suppose is drowned.
In the name of something holy, sir, why stand you in this strange stare?
Oh, it is monstrous, monstrous! Methought the bellows spoke, and told me of it. The winds did sing it to me, and the thunder pronounced the name of Prospero. It did vast my trespass. Therefore my son in the ooze lies bedded, and I'll seek him deeper than ever plummet sounded, and with him I met it.
But one fiend at a time, I'll fight the legions are.
I'll be thy second.
All three of them are desperate. Their great guilt, like poison, gave it to work a great time after, now begins to bite their spirits. I do beseech you, that our suppler joins, follow them swiftly, and hinder them from what this ecstasy may now provoke them to.
Follow, I pray you.
If I have too austerely punished you, your compensation makes amends. For I have given you here a third of mine own life, or that for which I live. For once again I tender to thy hand. All thy vexations were but my trials of thy love, and thou hast strangely stood the test. Here, afore heaven, I ratify this my rich gift. O Ferdinand, do not smile at me that I boast it oft. for thou shalt find she will outstrip all praise and make it halt behind her.
I do believe it, against an oracle.
Then, as my gift, take thine own acquisition, worthily purchased. Sit then and talk with her, she is thine own. I had forgot of that foul conspiracy of the beast Caliban and his confederates against my life. The minute of their plot has almost come.
This is strange. Your father's in some passion, but works him strongly.
Never till this day I saw him touched with anger so distempered.
You do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Sir, I am vexed. Bear with my weakness. My old brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell and there repose. A turn or two I'll walk to still my beating mind.
We wish you peace.
Come with a thought. I thank thee, Ariel. Come.
Thy thoughts I cleave to. What's thy pleasure?
Spirit must prepare to meet with Caliban.
I, my commander, I thought to have told thee of it, but I feared lest I might anger thee.
Say again, where dost thou leave these varlets?
As I told you, sir, they were red hot with drinking, so full of valor, and they smote the air for breathing in their faces. They beat the ground for kissing of their feet, yet always bending toward their project. Then I beat at my tabor, and like unbacked colts, they pricked their ears, and bends their eyelids, and steadied their noses. So I charmed their ears, that capped like them my loin followed, through terse briars, sharp furzes, prickling goss and thorns, which entered their frail shins. At last I left them in the filthy mantled pool beyond your cell, there dancing up to the chins with the foul lake o'erstunk their feet.
This was well done, my bird. Thy shape invisible retain thou still. The trumpeter in my house, go, bring it hither, for stale to catch these thieves.
I go.
A devil, a born devil, on whose nature nurture can never stick, and on whom my pains humanely taken. All is lost, quite lost. And as with his age his body uglier grows, so his mind cankers. I will plague them all, even to roaring. Come, hang them on this line.
Pray you, tread softly, that the blind mole may not hear a footfall. We are now near his cell.
Monster, your fairy, which you say is a harmless fairy, has done little better than play the jack with us.
Monster, I do smell a little force done, in which my nose is in great indignation.
So is mine. Do you hear, monster? If I should take a displeasure against you, look you.
Good my lord, give me thy favor still. We are now near his cell. Therefore, speak softly.
Aye, but to lose our bottles in the pool.
There is not only disgrace and dishonor in that, monster, but infinite loss.
Oh, King Stephano, oh, Pierre, oh, worthy Stephano, look what a wardrobe is here for thee.
Leave it alone, fool. It's but trash.
Oh, monster, we know what belongs to February. Oh, King Stephano.
Put off that gown, Pinko. With this hand, I'll have that gown.
Pray so have it.
The dropsy drown this fool. Let's alone and do the murder first. If he awake, he'll fill our skins with pinches and make us strange stuff.
Be you quiet, monster. Here is a garment for thee.
Monster, come, put some lime upon your fingers, and away with the rest.
I will have none on it. We will lose our time, and all be turned to apes with foreheads villainous low.
Monster, lay to your fingers. Help me bear away where my hogshead of wine is, or I'll turn you out of my kingdom. Go, carry this.
And this.
At this hour lays at my mercy all mine enemies. Shortly shall all my labors end, and thou shalt have the air of freedom. Further to follow and do me service. For now does my project gather to a head. My charms crack not, my spirits obey, and time goes upward with his carriage. How's today?
On the 6th hour, at which time, my lord, you said our work should cease.
I did say so when I first faced the Tempest. Say, Spirit, how fares the king and his followers?
Confined together in the same fashion as you gave in charge, just as you left them, all prisoners, sir, in the line grove that weather fends your court. They cannot budge till your release. The king, his brother, and yours abide all three distracted, and the remainder mourning over them, brimful of sorrow and dismay. But chiefly him that you term, sir, the good old Lord Gonzalo. His tears run down his beard like winter's drops from eaves of reeds. Yours charm so strongly works them that if you beheld them now, your affections would become most tender.
Dost thou think so, spirit?
Mine would, sir, were I human.
And mine shall. Hast thou, which art, air, touch, a feeling of their affections? And shall not myself, one of their kind, that relish all as sharply, be kind to their moves than thou art? Though with their high wrongs I am struck to the quick, with my nobler reason, gainst my fury do I take part. The rarer action is in virtue than in vengeance. Go, release them, Ariel. My charms I'll break, their senses I'll restore, and they shall be themselves.
I'll fetch them, sir.
Ye elves of hills, brooks, standing lakes, and groves, and ye that on the sands with princeless foot do chase the ebbing Neptune, and do fly him when he comes back. You demi-puppets, that by moonshine do the green sour ringlets make, whereof the ewe not bites. And you whose pastime is to make midnight mushrooms, that rejoice to hear the solemn curfew, by whose aid, weak masters though ye be, I have bedimmed the noontide sun, called forth the mutinous winds, and twixt the green sea and the azure vault set roaring war. To the dread rattling thunder have I given fire, and ripped the Jove's stout oak with his own bolt. Strong base promontory have I made shake, and by the spurs plucked up the pine and cedar. Graves at my command have waked their sleepers, oped and led him forth by my so potent art. With this rough magic I here abjure, and when I have required some heavenly music, even now I do, to work mine end upon their senses, that this airy charm is for. I'll break my staff, bury it certain fathoms in the earth, and deeper than did ever plummet sound, I'll drown my book. Solemn air, and the best comforter to an unsettled fancy. Here thy brains, now useless, boiled within thy skull. There stand your spell stopped. Holy Gonzalo, honorable man, mine eyes, even sociable for show of thine, fall fellowly wrought. The charm dissolves apace, and as the morning steals upon the night, melting the darkness, so their rising senses begin to chase the ignorant fumes that mantle their clearer reason. O good Gonzalo, my true preserver, and loyal sir to whom thou followest, I will pay thy graces both home in word and deed. Most cruelly didst thou, Alonso, use me and my daughter. Thy brother was a further in the act. Thou art pinched for it now, Sebastian. Flesh and blood, you, brother mine, entertained ambitions, spelled remorse and nature, who, with Sebastian, whose inward pinches therefore are most strong, would here have killed your king. I do forgive thee, unnatural though thou art. Their understanding begins to swell, and as the reasonable tide would shortly fill the reasonable shore that now lies foul and muddy, not one of them that yet looks on me, or would know me. Ariel, fetch me the hat, rapier myself. I will discase me, myself present, as I was some time along. Quickly, spirit, thou shalt ere long be free.
Where the bee sucks, there suck I. In the cowslip's bell I lie. There I couch when the owls do cry. On a bat's back I do fly after summer merrily. Merrily, merrily shall I live now, under the blossom that hangs so high.
Why, that's my dainty Ariel. I shall miss thee, yet thou shalt have freedom. So. To the king's ship, invisible as thou art. There shalt thou find the mariners asleep under the hatches. The master and the boatswain being awake, force them to this place, and presently I prithee.
I drink the air before me, and return, or ere your pulse twice beat.
All torments, trouble, wonder, and amazement inhabits here. Some heavenly power guide us out of this fearful country.
Behold, Sir King, the wronged Duke of Milan, Prospero. For more assurance that a living prince does now speak to thee. I embrace thy body, and to thee and thy company I bid a hearty welcome.
wherever thou beest, he or no, or some enchanted trifle to abuse me, I not know. Thy pulse beats as of flesh and blood. Thy dukedom I resign, and do entreat thou pardon me my wrongs. But how should Prospero be living here?
First, noble friend, let me embrace thy name, whose honor cannot be measured or confined.
Whether this be or not, I'll not swear.
Welcome, my friends, all. With you, my brace of lords, were I so minded, I could here pluck his highness's frown upon you, and justify you as traitors. At this time, I will tell no tales.
The devil speaks in him.
No, for you, most wicked sir, whom to call brother, would even infect my mouth. I do forgive thy rancorous fault, all of them, and require my dukedom of thee, which perforce I know thou must restore.
If thou beest Prospero, give us particulars of thy preservation, how thou hast met us here. Who 3 hours since were racked upon the shore, where I have lost how sharp the point of this remembrance is my dear son Ferdinand.
I am well for it, sir.
Irreparable is the loss, and patience says it is past cure.
I rather think you have not sought her help, of whose soft grace for the like loss I have her sovereign aid, and rest myself content.
You the like loss?
I have lost my daughter.
A daughter? When did you lose your daughter?
In this last tempest. I perceive these lords of this encounter do so much admire their reasons, scarce think their eyes do offices of truth, their words a natural breath. But howsoever you have been justly from your senses, know for certain that I am Prospero, that the very duke which was thrust forth from Milan, most strangely upon this shore, where you were racked, was landed to be lord on it. Welcome, sir. This cell is my court. Here I have a few attendants, and subjects none abroad. Pray you, look in.
Sweet lord, you play me false. No, my dearest love, I would not. Yes, for a score of kingdoms, you should wrangle. I would call it fair play.
If this prove a vision of the island, one dear son shall I twice lose.
A most high miracle.
Though the cities threaten, they are merciful. I have cursed them without cause.
Now on the blessings of a glad father come pass about. Arise and see how thou camest here.
A wonder, how many goodly creatures are there here?
Seriously.
I say amen, Gonzalo. What is this maid with whom thou wast at play? Is she the goddess that hath severed us and brought us thus together?
Sir, she is mortal. I chose her when I could not ask my father for his advice, nor thought I had one. She is the daughter of the famous Duke of Milan, of whom I perceived a second life.
Look down in God's honest help of blessed crown.
I say amen, Gonzalo. Give me your hands. Let grief and sorrow still embrace this heart that doth not wish you joy.
Oh, look, sir, here is more of us. I prophesied, if a gallows were on land, this fellow could not drown.
Best news that we have safely found our king and company, and that the ship is bravely rigged as when we first put out to sea.
Sir, all the service have I done since I went.
My tricksy spirit,
What's done well?
brave in my diligence, thou shalt ere long be free.
This is a strange maze as ever man trod.
Sir, my liege, do not infest your mind with the beating on this strangeness. At picked leisure, we shall be shortly, single I'll dissolve you. Come hither, spirit. Get Caliban and his companions free. Untie the spell. There are yet missing of your company some few odd lads that you remember not.
Every man send for the rest, and let no man take care for himself, for it is but fortune. Coraggio, bully monster, coraggio. Oh, send them both. I'm afraid he will chastise me. What strange things are these, Lord Antonio? Will money buy him?
Very likely. One of them is plain fish, and no doubt marketable.
My lord. This misshapen knave, his mother was a witch, and one so strong that could control the moon. These three have robbed me, and this demi-devil had plotted with them to take my life. Two of these things you must know and own. This thing of darkness I acknowledge mine.
I shall be pinched to death.
Is not this Stefano, my drunken butler?
He is drunk now. Where had he wine?
And Trinculo is reeling ripe. This is a strange maze as ever man trod.
He is as disproportionate in his manners as in his shape. Go, Sirrah, to my cell. Take with you your companions. As you look to have my pardon, trim it handsomely.
Aye, that I will, and I will be wiser hereafter. What a thrice noble fool I was to take this drunkard before a god and worship him.
Go to, away. Sir, I invite your highness and your train to my poor cell, where you shall take your rest for this one night. And in the morn I'll bring you to your ship, and so to Naples, where I have the hope to see the nuptial of these our dear beloved solemnize.
I long to hear the story of your life, which must take the ear strangely.
I'll deliver all, and promise you calm seas, auspicious gales, and sails so expeditious that shall catch your royal fleet far off. My Ariel, that is thy charge. Then to the elements, be free and fare thou well. Now my charms are all overthrown, but strength I have's mine own, 'tis most faint. Now 'tis true, I must be here confined by you, or sent to Naples. Let me not, since I have my dukedom got, and pardoned a deceiver, dwell in this bare island by your spell, but release me from my bands, with the help of your good hands. Gentle breath of yours my sails must fill, or else my project fails, which was to please. Now I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant. My ending is despair, unless I be relieved by prayer, which pierces so that it assaults mercy itself and frees all faults. As you from crimes would pardons be, let you indulgence set me free.
We hope you enjoyed this as much as we did. We greatly appreciate everything that everyone has done, but there are a few people, we are actually a lot of people, we really have to thank. So first of all, thank our wonderful audience. There's nothing more sad. There's nothing better for the actors to have a really good audience out there. Next, our stage managers, Sophie and Maura Collins, and my adjust the stage. They painted the backdrop and did music and set sound system up. Thank you very much. And of course, all the parents for putting up with Jerry's and our unpredictable practice schedules every now and then. And driving kids to and from. Thank you very much. We are eternally grateful to Mrs. Hidley for painting our wonderful backdrop. Thank you very much. We also helped with costumes, as did all the parents. They all pitched in costumes and props and did a wonderful job. Thank you very much. And then Mr. Collins very generously made the frame for our backdrop. Tom Dixon filmed for us. Thank you very much. And then, thank you, Mr. and Mr. Collins for Mr. and Mrs. Collins for letting us use their yard. Their hospitality was excellent. They had snacks and drinks for when it was the hottest, and the actors really appreciated that.
Hip hip
So thank you very much. Definitely not least, our wonderful cast and actors. Thank you very much.